Periphery 3, select difficulty. What up, random rockers? Alright, guys. This is the fifth studio album. Fifth full-length studio album, despite the name of this album. It is their fifth. And the third album, as well as the fourth, have already been taken by the ones down below here. The stickers here. My bad. Is the Juggernaut albums, Alpha and Omega, from last year. Literally almost 18 months ago. Like literally about 18 months ago, that album has come out. And they released this record. You'd think with that in mind, it'd be like, ooh, this album may not be so good. And it didn't help when the lead-off track on this album, The Price is Wrong, bitch. No. Happy. Happy place. Alright. I'm done with Happy Gilmore references for right now. But yeah, it's the only time that using that phrase is nice. Because with this, it's a little brutal. But it is, I mean, it's not a bad track, but I prefer the follow-up track. Though still brutal as all get-go. Is Motor Mouth. Tell me, mannequin, what brings you to move? Is it all of the colors in the magazine? Following sucks. Paint your face now. Pose and filter the mood. Give it all you've got. You're just a click away from the fame now. Eat shit, Motor Mouth. Swallow all of it down. You're pretty when you put the face on, and when you shut that mouth. Those chattering teeth lose my sympathy. Got a lot to say. You've got a lot. Gotta leave it out of the game you play. Nothing you say holds any value. It weaves through the ears like a worm, searching for light of the masses. You know what? I'm not going to even finish this one. But there's no need for it, as it is somewhat self-explanatory. It is kind of one of those people who like to just talk shit and try to be famous, get famous for it, and it's more just like, and all these people that just more or less get fame for talking shit and then having to basically get it dished back at them or whatever. Marigold was a great follow-up. The thing this album has that I didn't hear in the previous albums is the more string arrangements in the piano section, the string sections and the piano arrangements that were not in the previous albums. And that was something to prove that the band, which, I mean, is typical usually in most progressive metal bands. Not so much gent, but unless you're listening to maybe Tesseract, their style does kind of go and weave a little bit of that in their music, a little bit, not too much. Or at least it has the same symphonic contexts. But with this one, they seem to have focused more on getting a chance to just write individual songs and focus more on that and putting more effort into them and seeing how they all fit together into one album, as opposed to just making a full-blown concept where they had to do certain things in order to mesh well with the concepts, which is what Alpha and Omega were. However, some of the ideas that they did have were where what Misha Mansour said was, finally, we're at where we want to be as Periphery. And then with this new album that came out, that became even more clear. Here, and of course, Marigold was a great track that proved that the band was one of the tracks that proved that they could get my attention. Another track that I just don't care for as much, and it is quite brutal, is Prayer Position. It's kind of one of those moments where you're stuck in that kind of position for no, and it's not sexual at all. It's more begging and pleading to not get offed, even though it's, or the other way around, like a different begging and pleading to get offed. I'm not sure. It's kind of a mix of both, and it's kind of disturbing in a way. So just Unless you're into that thing with death metal, then go for it. You atheist bastards, you. Some of you. I just know some people, that's why I said that. Just to mess with them. But yes, Marigold is a nice track. Latched to this life like a death grip. We're satisfied with the mundane and keeping out of sight, but still we are young. I'll stare the angels down, keep them in the back room, shut the door and let go. Now we stare at the grave, cold and paralyzed, pushing daisies while we still feel the sunshine. We are young, slip through the marigolds and please our damaged souls. This place is holding me, jump through the rope, let's make it credible. When blood is all we see, life is impossible. That is the pre-chorus, and then we have the chorus, or at least the first chorus specifically. Death is coming around like a hurricane swirling. We're on the clock and the needle is turning. The misery is killing me slowly. Give me a spine to work it out. We're just another one wandering aimlessly until the grave. The signs of the times are upon us all. We're bleeding for tomorrow, sucking on the mother's dead tit of sorrow. It's all right. We'll learn it all before we go. Snapped by the neck as we follow. Chin up. Now tighten the rope. Leave it all hollow. And of course, the pre-chorus again, and then the chorus this time goes a little more extended with it has a little extension, which is no funeral, no prior left burning. This body is dust in the wind that's hurling past. The misery is killing me slowly. Give me a spine to work it out. And of course, once again, we have to repeat this, and it is done quite well with the. And it has, and when we get to that point again, after they do the pre-chorus once more. They basically do the first chorus again with this nice little ambient choir thing before going back to the second chorus. But the follow-up track that really gets me is, it's an interesting track. It's definitely one of their more almost radio-friendly hard rock type tracks, as opposed to being more of a metal track. And I prefer Periphery going more into that depth, but while still maintaining their credibility of being metal, even though their sound ventures into radio-friendly hard rock, so to speak, or hard alternative, to be more precise. Wendy's goes, wake up as I stumble into a blinding light, deeper breaths enough to kill the highest highs. Take one good look and I'm at the lowest low again, down at the bottom, but I'm fine. Tears march to lullabies and beat me like a drum. It's not your average fucking misery. This heart has chords, but not a single one sounds new or fun. Hit strings and dissonance, pick on and on and on. Show them how to fly away when this world is torn. If you feel like dying, lose that forever. You're shining and it shows. And throughout this chorus is nothing but blast beats. How they managed to make it work with this nice little choir, that surrounding this nice little choir-like vocal style that they bring in alongside Spencer's stiletto style. Which, speaking of Stello, Spencer is actually, I'm hoping that it's still true to it, but he has replaced what we now know of him as Skrillex from First. Not sure what his name was back when he was in From First to Last, but he's replaced him and now he's in From First to Last. Don't know when they're coming up with a new album or not, but I am curious now since of this, and yeah, just thought it was a fun fact to share. Back to the way the news goes. The second verse, which is them kind of repeating some of the same stuff though. Living through the highest highs are shining, and it shows down at the bottom, but I'm fine. Try to feed it, but it still wants more. Give me that feeling that I'm looking for. And goes through that chorus again. Then wake up as I stumble into a blinding light, deeper breaths to kill the highest highs. We're back to that. Yes, it's pretty well most of the same thing, but it's still fun though here. And the way they end this track off with these piano pieces, with this piano piece that's just very nice and eloquent. very classical style, Baroque, if anything like that. So, Remain Indoors. So some of these tracks were tracks that they had done previously and then reworked and perfected through this album. Remain Indoors was one of them. I forgot the name that originally had been called, but it's actually not a bad track. Track in its own right. I mean, lyrics like beauty is but a visual and fantasy. Mistakes are only real when you slip out of it. Beauty is but a visual and fantasy. Mistakes are only real when you become the mess. Fall back on the cloud, and when there's nothing new left to do, and there's not a single thought in the crosshairs of your mind. Stop shouting from a mountain. Maybe sing a tune from within you. We've got to move to the middles from the mire. This is a view from outer tunnel vision. I'm holding position. This is a view from outer tunnel vision. And just the way Spencer's vocals soar throughout this is just insane. Also, one of the guitar players on here, whose name escapes me, but if you look a little closer at him, if you barely tell since when I put it up closer, because the last time I tried to do this when I recorded this it did something weird with the camera. But if you look a little bit close to it, does that not look like a little bit like Brandon Boyd, guys? Just shout out to some of you Eclipse fans. I know one of you. You're welcome. Alright, so yeah. Yeah, 6-piece band too, by the way, if you hadn't already noticed from the pictures. Alright. And Habitual Line Stepper, there's not really much to say, I guess. It just seems to have something to do with having this thing about crossing the line and going too far. Of crossing the line or going too far, and even to the extent of just, crowd stage diving or something weird like that, I guess. But it's not much, there's not really much to that. And just, the frustration from some of the bands, I guess, and dealing with that kind of crap. It's like, get off. And it's one of those things. But it's Flatline is one of these great track, man. Just, Absolicom isn't too bad either, but they're not necessarily the best lyrically, I guess. But it does have an interesting solo from Misha Mansour. But the one thing that Absalom has that's good is near the end of the track. It goes into this weird sort of, almost like Lord of the Rings, Game of Thronesy sort of medieval sort of score, symphonic, classical kind of score to it. That's just pretty epic in feel, and just in scope. That's worth checking out. And anyways, but going back to Flatline. Your eyes judge like jury locked in a trial. No respect for the odd and innocent guilty. Now shut the doors and then open fire. Some fail to make the connection and lose beauty in a mound of rejection. Can't we understand that no life is out of our hands? Suffocation and the fear of living is setting in, so let go before he lets go. Patience is wearing thin and leaving him, so let go before he lets go of this life. I wonder what goes on before he lets go, he says. And this is the more catchy chorus, which is, he says, send an angel to pull me from the hell below. This weight is far too much to own, and this body doesn't feel like home. Send an angel. I feel I'm dying all alone, so lift me up or let me go, because this body doesn't feel like home. This body doesn't feel like home. Just brutal. It's brutal to the extent of, like, if you're someone that's dealing with the loss of a loved one, and they're kind of in a limbo-ish state or something like that, or as well as if it had something to do with having been shot at gunpoint, and that leading to the emergency room, all that kind of crap, or just something of the nature to where it's going to probably be tough for someone who's into grieving to listen to this song without wanting to probably off himself. I don't know. But it's a bit existential. Even sort of mentally, it seems like the person that's, the victim is kind of going through a form of existential crisis in whether or not he wants to stay here or really leave. Because the way the damage that his body has done to him, it doesn't feel, it's either vegetative state, or it's one of those, I guess almost a euthanasia thing. Which is a little, and the way they handle it, it's a little brutal, but it's done in such a very eloquent, and it's one of their more, it's kind of, we're going to use the term pop periphery. Another reviewer did this, and I'm sorry if I'm taking it from you, but that's the best way to describe this, actually. Pop periphery. That still has its sort of metal growliness to it. Love feels far away. The lack of motivation keeps his soul from bettering his own life. Now he's next level with a bottle and a blade. Retreating in his own way, suffocation and the fear of living is setting in, so let go before he lets go. Patience is wearing thin and leaving him, so let go before he lets go of this life. I wonder what goes on behind those bloodshot eyes. I wonder what goes on before he lets go. And of course the badass chorus that I had mentioned before, and then after that, we get the tone changes a little bit, and it gets into this very melodic sort of structure throughout the rest of the song, before it kind of goes into this other thing that kind of has some I think it has some orchestral stuff going on near the end of this too. And it's sleep now and carry on into the black of the night. Sleep now and you'll be on your way. There's another one moving on from the flat line. Sleep now and carry on into the black of the night. Sleep now and you'll be on your way. There's another one moving on from the flat line. Slip into the fray, slip between the night and day. And then, of course, that particular verse, or that stanza or whatever, continues on and ends the track off. Of course, leading into Absalom that I had mentioned, and the way that ends off, and then leads into, honestly, probably my favorite track, and the one that I feel like I need to boycott radio if this doesn't get the airplay it deserves. Because it's asking for it. It's actually one of the shortest, besides The Price is Wrong, it is one of the shortest tracks on here. It's not even at 4 minutes. So that's even, and the way this song is done, it's begging for that level of radio friendliness. Sure, you could probably need to deal with some little editing with some certain words, but that's okay. For now. It's okay until they get the album. And that, of course, I just mentioned the track is Catch Fire. If I hadn't, you do now. I mean, the lyrics on this is actually pretty baller for what it is. Lock eyes like we're staring down the barrel of a shotgun. Appear so quickly, leave as swiftly as you came. Sometimes I wish I had the measure of a wise man, but I set the mood. Plant the tomb and bury all the bones within. It sure is something when we all catch fire. Bodies burning like the sunrise. Stay with me, I'll show you paradise. It feels so right. Give me that peace of mind, and I'll give you everything. Just know it feels so good that I could die and be alright. Alive we breathe when everything as it seems. But is there something much more? Underneath the sheets. My favorite line in this stanza, in this verse here, underneath the sheets, beneath the skin, there's a beauty waiting to be adored. Swag. Nothing but swag. Swag. We're cradled in the thick of it, but too ignorant to give a shit. We set the mood, we plant the tomb, and bury all the bones within. Don't keep me hanging from the mouth. Which is where the growly parts come in on that track, and that's the only time you get the death growly stuff. It's brief, so it doesn't take away from the song, but it does give you enough to know, okay, they're technically sort of that kind of a metal band, to get you interested in it, to get you to understand where they're coming from before you hear the first track on this album when you start it before, you know. So it works perfect. It works perfect. It can first growls that you could hear on like something like I want 105.7 The Point to play this. I can see them actually doing this with the way their setup is lately with music. My goodness. If it's not, I'm gonna be one mad motherfucker. Or one mad random rocker. Oh yeah. Excuse me. Alright. And of course, stay with me. Sure something when we all catch fire, bodies burning like the sunrise. Stay with me, I'll show you paradise. It feels so right. Give me that peace of mind and I'll give you everything. Just know it feels so good that I could die, enjoying the stars. Give me that peace of mind and I'll give you everything. Stay with me, I'll show you paradise. It feels so right. We exist in this moment only to fly. Just stay with me. Twisting love as we hold this on the inside. Just stay with me. It sure is something when we all catch fire. Bodies burning like the sunrise. Stay with me, I'll show you paradise. It feels so right. Give me that peace of mind, and I'll give you everything. Just know it feels so good that I could die and join the stars. Give me that peace of mind, and I'll give you everything. Stay with me, I'll show you paradise. It feels so right. And this song, it is the best song on this. It is one of the best songs on the album and the catchiest one they've ever come up with. And its runtime and everything, just this song on its own, and sure, just a little edit with one of the words, as I had mentioned, and you could easily hear this on radio. I'm not kidding. Go check this out. If I have to leave something in the comments, I don't know if I'll leave it in the description box. I'm not that great with that. I'd have to figure something else out. I don't know. But all I know is that just look up Periphery. Hell, if you have to, just look up Periphery's Catch Fire. If it says Sumerian Records, then it's probably okay because it's the band's label. You know, if it looks like something like this, you'll be good. And of course the album cover, then you'll be good. All right. Just seriously, fucking listen to it. I've been obsessed with this track ever since the album had come out this past Friday. Or didn't listen to it till Saturday following, but it's definitely something, dude. When we all catch fire, bodies burning, and then the track that ends this album, perfectly closing this album, is Loon. Snow coming down now, like December, burning up in the summer rays, but I'm not stumbling like a pretender. Medicine is flowing through my veins. Heavy eyes, but the tongue won't stutter. Mouths are moving and the heart is still fluttering. I'm on my own. You found me in the cold, now I'm wrapped within the warmth of your touch. There's never a moment that I let slip by in your eyes. Are we growing old and am I melting in the rays of this love? Never ever gonna let you go. Don't let go. Slow it down now. I cannot remember why I let them chew on my brain. It still has an epic feel to it, despite the lyrical content. Kind of, by this point, it starts to get a little zombie apocalypse in imagery with the chew on my brain, and then they've come and left this town in smoldering embers. But my dear, I'll die in your rain. Heavy eyes, but the tongue won't stutter. Mouths are moving, and this heart is still fluttering. I'm on my own. You found me in the cold. Now I'm wrapped within the warmth of your touch. There's never a moment that I let slip by in your eyes. And we're growing old, and are we growing old? And am I melting in the rays of this love? Never ever gonna let you go. Don't let go. Do you feel the love? Yes, I feel love. Taste it, hold it, feel it. Never let it go. Do you feel the love? Yes, I feel the love. Do you feel the love? Yes, I feel the love. Taste it, hold it, feel it. Never let it go. Do you feel the love? Yes, I feel the love. Don't let go. The way this song carries it now, just by me reading the lyrics may not be enough for you. As I said, go check out these songs and see for yourself. and do it of a legal means. If you're doing it at YouTube, at least go to Sumerian Records. They go to the Sumerian Records stuff, or Periphery's actual site, actual page or channel or whatever. They'll have it. So, but I think they'd still ask you to, you know, get the album itself, which is probably a better idea. I mean, the way that some of the it's not very solo heavy. It's very riff conscious, and for an album, and a lot of this album proves, and of course, like they are with majority of their albums, their style is pretty well mostly a combo of Between the Buried and Me, Dillinger Escape Plan, molded together into one, with some Coheed and Cambria and some, amongst other influences, most specifically Coheed and Cambria and Devin Townsend, thrown into the mix. Maybe throwing a little bit of Tool, a little bit of Faith No More, and of course, definitely some Meshuggah. And that's kind of what you're going to get out of Periphery for most of the time. And with this one, they started, and of course, the symphonic elements, specifically within the more or neoclassical elements, with the orchestral stuff, with the string sections being used, the way the choir's being used throughout some of these tracks as well, compared to Alpha stuff on Alpha, like Heavy Heart. I mean, this album, my goodness, is definitely at this point, I gotta say, it's kind of their magnum opus. I originally thought these were, but eventually, when I recently listened to them to prep up for this album, they didn't hold up as well as I had originally or had initially thought. And yeah, guys, I gotta say, Periphery 3 Select Difficulty is going up on the good pile, because it fucking rocks. It is definitely making my top 5, if definitely not my top 3. Let's just say Thrice is definitely got some competition going on, and it's not just Radiohead. I'm going to tell you that. Definitely going to possibly make my top 3 if it doesn't make top 5 for this year. In terms of like my favorites of the year, it is definitely one of them. What did you guys think of Periphery 3 Select Difficulty? Are you still looking for? I'm completely back on board, fully on what the band is going to do forward after this album. And what did you guys think about it? Comment below, let me know. Let me know. Rock that like button with thrust if you must. My next videos should be Jason Bourne. Following that, Suicide Squad. And somewhere, hopefully in between there, if not after Suicide Squad, will be my review for Skillet. After that, I am planning whatever movies like Sausage Party or Pete's Dragon I will be reviewing. Not sure what else is going on in the later weeks. I know some other movies that are coming out later, but just nothing more currently going on that's at the top of my head. The album-wise, I would say one thing for sure, especially just recently this past week, I'm definitely looking forward to Alter Bridge, dude. That might actually crack in top 5. It could beat out Tremonti, but we'll see how it happens with that. I mean, Show Me a Leader. At first I was like, but that was because I had the edited version, not the full version. With the full version, it's probably one of their best tracks they've ever done, outside of Isolation or that. I still feel as though their best track is this particular bonus track that came off of AB3. The name escapes me. But, Never Born to Follow. That track, still probably my top favorite of Alter Bridge tracks, honestly, besides Blackbird. But this track could come up there in the top 3 if it needed to. But it's still up in the air. It's still here and there with that one. But yeah, check that track out as well. There's some other albums I've been wanting to get to, but never did. I eventually will at some point, but oh well. Again, as always, guys, till the next video, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rockin'. Peace.